Hey, friend. So, welcome back to the podcast. Truly, I think of us sitting here like girlfriends having like a real conversation. And so, I'm showing up that way. Like, for anybody watching on YouTube, I have no makeup on. I'm just doing my thing. And I have like a hot pack, like a heating pack, like the ones that have rice inside. So, if you hear something, it's here on my lap. But just, like literally I'm showing up. I'm like sitting next to you on the couch, just dealing with my cramps and dealing with my hot pack, and we're freaking talking. I want to talk a little bit about just some friendship stuff that's been coming up, and I want to get super real with you because like this is the real stuff that a lot of us go through, and I don't think we actually sit and talk about this. And a long time ago, Jackie, if you're listening, this is for you. A long time ago, I had one of my like what do I want to say? Like my, listeners, like my hardcore listeners, and one of the women in my Rise sisterhood asked me about like friendship breakups and stuff like that. And I really wasn't, and I'm probably still not exactly super qualified to speak on it because that's not something that I am focused on or that I like specialize in talking about. But it's something that I've been experiencing. And I want to chat about the nervous system side because that I completely understand and that I am totally like certified to talk about. Of just like why it makes us feel so crappy, even if you have like a friend that it's time to let go of them, or that, something's been going on and it's really just time to like step away. It still makes us feel really bad. And there's a lot of reasons there. Like there's really true, neurological wiring or biological reasons, if you will, for why all of this happens and why it feels so bad. And so I want to touch on that a little bit. I'm not going to like get super scientific, too much. I also want to just talk about what happened because I feel like that's super fun. I feel like I just have to share the story, I'll keep it a little vague, a little bit. Sorry everybody that wants the tea because, I got to be respectful still. But a lot has happened and man, your girl has really cut off some relationships and I feel like I'm in such a good place right now because of it. So, anyways, let's dive in. So, I again, I'll keep this vague because I don't want to be too obvious about what it was that, or who or whatever. But if you know me, you know that I've been lately in a few different containers for personal growth, for like business coaching, all kinds of stuff. I like to get into those little like masterminds or little containers where we do group coaching. I love that stuff. So I won't tell you specifically which one, but in one of those, I had actually gotten pretty close to some of the girls and just really freaking adored them. And not too long ago, I was thinking about, do I want to renew? Do I want to like go through this program again? Because it definitely did help me with a lot of things in my life. And I was kind of like making this decision and really thinking about it. And as I was thinking about it, I started to notice just some things inside the group that I really didn't agree with. A lot of like preaching one thing, but practicing the complete opposite, really not being inclusive. I don't know how to describe it. I noticed a lot of people kind of making friendships with people who were going to get them where they wanted to go, but not really making aligned relationships or aligned friendships like they were preaching, right? So a lot of people who really deserved to be, spotlight or just, celebrated or whatever, they were not getting this from the community because these community leaders were just kind of looking everywhere else to become kind of like the next big thing, if you will. And there was just a lot of really, really weird vibes I started to pick up on. And I don't know why I didn't notice them sooner. I think sometimes when you have like a spotlight shining on you and you're yourself just kind of blinded by the light, I think that it's really easy to like not notice red flags. There is also something to be said for in the dating world, when you're dating people and you're going, to find a new, potential relationship, romantic relationship, it's easier to be on alert for red flags because that's something that we're taught. It's something that's all over the internet lately. It's something that we're really more conscientious about, something that we're thinking about a lot more often. But there's something about when you are looking for friendships or when you're looking to go into a container that you want to grow in or, get your professional development kind of expanded or personal growth expanded on. I think that sometimes we look to different leaders as like just because they're in charge of a program or just because they have some accolades, it's easy to think that they would be a great fit for us, but not really picking up on the red flags that they might be, kind of low key, like waving around. And it's easy though, I think, for that to happen because it's not a romantic relationship. So you're not spending as much time kind of qualifying people. And especially if you're like me and you're like a girl's girl, it's easy to just be like, oh, like she rocks. Like, I want to celebrate her. I want to, what's the word? Like, I want to support her. I want to, get in and help her out. And so it's easy to feel like that. And just like totally ignore red flags and go about your day. But over time, I started to notice a lot more of these red flags. Like it just takes a little bit of time and then you start to see them where people are not, they're doing something completely opposite than what they're talking about. And I've seen this a lot on threads. A lot of people are starting to kind of whistleblow on the coaching industry, which is why it's hard. I mean, I totally see it now that I'm kind of looking back. Which is why, as a coach myself, it's always been so important to me to be very aligned. Like, I'm not going to come and preach something to you that I don't care about or that I've never done or that I don't believe in, because why, And so over time, you're going to notice, like, if somebody is doing that and they are living in misalignment, you're going to notice that. You're going to see that, like, this isn't matching up. They're saying that they love community and collaboration, but hey, wait, they're not collaborating with people that are like, not going to get them somewhere, right? Like they're only collaborating with the people who are like, way, if you believe in the hierarchy stuff, which I also do not believe in, but I keep seeing it preached, but they're only collaborating with people that are like 3 steps higher than them so that they can pull them up, but they're not helping pull up other people, other women who are just so deserving of like the growth and the spotlight and all of that. So that's just one example, but there's so many examples of, things that I was starting to notice where it was like, they're not practicing what they preach. Like, this is not aligned. And over time, I just started to feel like, okay, I think I need to distance myself a little bit just because I always want to make sure that I am in containers, that I'm friends with people, that I'm investing in things, places, people, all of that support my values. And one of, my main values is like integrity, the honesty, right? Is also community, collaboration, helping each other as women, being a girl's girl, lifting each other up, championing. Jamie Kern Lima always talks about that, and I love it so much. I always want to say that word, and it always gets stuck. But, just like bringing other women with us, helping each other out. Like, that's the vibe. That's what I stand for. And so I recently pruned I left everything. I was in a few different containers. I left all of them because I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that they all align with my values currently. I had to leave everything, leave behind, even friendships, even family relationships. I've been setting some major, major boundaries in family because just anything that doesn't feel aligned with my values and doesn't make me feel like I'm allowed to just truly be myself and be a happy version of me, it's not going to work, right? So here's what happened though, because this is pretty crazy. I think personally, if something's not aligned for you, get out of there. Like, who cares? Don't be disrespectful. Don't be rude. Don't, be like that. But literally, if it doesn't feel right, move on. Not a big deal. And I don't think that you should do it in a way that hurts other people or that breaks contracts or that does anything rude unless it's an absolute emergency, which I've had recently as well. With my father-in-law's health, we just had a huge thing come up and I had to break a contract, and the host was really gracious and let me do that. But I don't think that that's like the way to do things, right? To like break contracts or to hurt other people or to be rude to them. Like, you can just find a very professional, graceful way to move on from something that's not aligned, right? You just don't have to renew, or you can just kind of, start to set some boundaries and distance yourself. And that's exactly how I left these communities and these friendships and started to set family boundaries, and all of that was in a, professional, gracious, calm way that wasn't like shouting it all out there. But what happened is one of the containers that I left, one of the girls in there who I considered a friend started really this is crazy. Oh my God. I almost feel like I'm just like being unprofessional and just gossiping. But, for real, we are just friends having like a margarita on the couch. And we're going to talk about this. So somebody who I thought was my friend, like truly like a friend, started just talking mad shit about me publicly on Threads. And I saw a couple of her posts and I was like, what? I feel like she's talking about me. I'm like, oh my God. So I sent it to somebody that knows both of us. And I was like, hey, like, is this about me? Because you know her more than I do. And that person says, no, she's going through something, whatever. I said, okay, sure. Whatever. Okay, cool. Leave it alone. I ended up muting her, the person who was writing things, because I was like, I don't know, I'm taking this personally when it must not be about me then. So, let me just mute them so I'm not getting triggered, and, that's fine. Then I start to get screenshots from people who are like, let me send you this because this person is clearly talking about you. And what was insane is timeline wise, this person would post a thread that would basically correspond to like an IG story that I would post. And it would be just about 20 or 30 minutes later. Like you can compare the timelines from when I had posted that, from when she posted it, or literally I would post an IG story and like 10 minutes later, I would get somebody sending me a screenshot and it would literally be about what I had just posted. I remember one, I was literally just talking about like working night shift, and I was like, oh, it's so hard. Like the recovery, like it's hard. Working 4 12-hour shifts in a row is freaking hard. As a nurse, as a healthcare provider, it's hard to work 4 shifts in a row. I don't know how I used to do like up to 9. Like that was insane. But 4 shifts in a row is tough. 4 night shifts in a row? Girl, I don't know how people do this for like years of their life. I don't know how a lot of people do this consistently. I do 4 shifts in a row, like every couple of weeks or so, every, maybe 2, 3 weeks, whatever my schedule lands on. But it's hard because you don't sleep well during the day. You just, regardless, like it's daytime, like your body isn't working, your body's not wired to like sleep during the daytime. So of course it's not going to be like good sleep. And then you're going back to work and you're doing this job and you're staying up all night and you're drinking all these energy drinks and like probably not eating well unless you're like accustomed to night shift. But most of us are like either not eating anything because your stomach just can't handle it, or you want to, or like we order pizza or we order something and just like eat crap. So like it's just really hard on your body, and nursing's hard on your body anyway. So I was just posted a very simple little thing about how like, it's a lot and like the recovery is a lot. And this person writes this whole thread about how people who work night shift shouldn't complain and they should just be thankful that they have a job and blah, blah, blah. And that's when I really realized, because the rest of them were a little bit vague and a little clearly about what I had been posting stories about. But this one was like totally very obvious. And people are sending me it. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? This person, I thought they were my friend. But because I don't know why, and I still to this day cannot explain why this would trigger that person, because I left the container that they were still in, this person just became extremely triggered. And they were already a little bit triggered by me for various other reasons. But because I left that same, like, circle of people or whatever, this person just became so like mean and so rude and just posting these things. And so, anyways, the point of this story is it really became a sign for me that I had made the right choice. Absolutely, I had made the right choice. Because they were showing their true feelings, and other people in this group have shown their feelings as well, which leads me to believe that some kind of narrative is probably being said about me that's untrue. If there's other people saying similar things, but I've only shown, nothing but like love and compassion and respect. So I don't know where it could be coming from, but regardless, the the person saying this, it just became a sign that like I made the right choice. If this is how you feel now you're just feeling like you are allowed, I guess, or now you're just feeling like empowered to like air out your thoughts, because now you're just feeling like you want to air them out. But you've had these feelings lingering. It was never aligned. Like, were you faking a friendship? Was this just like fake? Like, I don't know. And it's fine. I don't need to care about that. But here's the thing. All of this craziness, all of this stress, it really did get under my skin. And I'm sure that was the intention, right? Try to make me feel bad or try to make me feel hurt or something. And of course it got under my skin. Of course it became like a thing. It got irritating. So much so to the point where it was like on my mind, where I was like, well, what are they going to say? Well, I don't want them to see me post this. I don't want this to happen. Like, what are they going to say about me? So I ended up blocking everybody. And here's what I want to tell you, and this is why I'm sharing this whole very personal story, is because at first I felt really bad. I felt really bad about even thinking about blocking them, even thinking about like whatever. And then as I started to sit with that, I was like, hold on, this is ruining my mental peace. This is giving me anxiety because I'm just like, what is she going to post next? Or who is she? This is what she's posting on a public platform. What is she saying to mutual friends behind my back? Right? Like, what? So my mental peace is going down the drain. I'm having anxiety. I'm very frustrated. I'm really upset. I'm seeing this. I'm just like, what the heck? So I made this decision. Like, why would I want all of this to happen? And so I went through, and even some of the girls that, unfortunately, like I do really love and I did feel really close with, I had to block all of them. I had to block every single one because I don't trust that this girl who started this whole crazy immature thing wasn't going to be spreading some kind of narrative or getting under their skin or talking about me or even trying to like look through their eyes to see what I was doing so that she could like further like talk about me. I don't know. Just this feels like such an immature conversation even for me to have, but I'm just trying to share the craziness that happened to me and yeah, and like what the heck? And my feelings, because that's what I really want you to get out of this episode is like the fact that this is normal to have these feelings, even though someone is hurting you, it's still normal to have some hurt, some guilt, some pain. The guilt with blocking them, the guilt with like moving on with my life, the guilt that like this was a friendship that I had wanted to honor, that I really loved, but clearly it was changing and clearly it wasn't going to be for my, mental benefit anymore. It wasn't going to help me in any way. It was just tearing me down. But the guilt that came with that, the guilt of feeling like you're supposed to keep friendships forever, or you're supposed to be good friends with everybody, it became really overwhelming. And I had to really think about this and I had to really sit with it and deal with it. And here's what I want to share with you. We are hardwired for community. We are hardwired for relationships. Our nervous system, like legitimately our brain, the most reptilian part of our brain, the very first like caveman brain, if you will, because then we've evolved and it's grown and we've got all these new things in there. I'm not going to get too scientific. So to my doctors, my nurses, just don't mind me. I want to keep it very low key here. But most like reptilian part of our brain is wired like from like evolution, right? To want this connection for safety. If you think back to like caveman days, if you think back to like literally when we were like living in tribes and literally running from lions and hunting and gathering and doing all of that, we were wired to be in these groups, to be in community, because we all had different roles, right? Like I was thinking about that back in the day. I might have been like the one caretaking for a couple of, the women's kids, right? While those women were out picking berries or gardening or whatever, right? Or vice versa. Like maybe, they were watching my kid and somebody was like doing all of that while the grandma was like passing down the ancient wisdom and the ancient stories to everybody. And some of us were out gathering the berries or the nuts and all of these things. And then the men are out hunting or building, you know, fixing the huts or the places that we lived, like all of that, right? It was a community where everybody had a role to keep us safe, to keep us fed, to keep us hidden from danger, to keep the kids safe, to, make more kids, to pass on the stories, the wisdom, the teachings. So we are hardwired for these connections. We are so ingrained in our brains that having the community, that having these connections is what keeps us safe. And it's very like primal, these feelings, that if somebody kicks us out or if we feel ostracized or if we feel like we're not part or we don't belong, what it does to us is it makes us feel unsafe. And that sends your nervous system into fight or flight mode. And you're not even consciously thinking about any of this. This is all just biological. Like this is all just happening. So something happens, you feel like you're not part of the community, you feel like you're getting, unsafe, you're going to be in fight or flight mode. Like, what do I need to do to come back to safety? And really, it's just this whole nervous system thing because we are here and we are safe. And now of days we all live in our, homes where we can like lock the door and we're good. And most of us have, clean running water, food, all of that. We're very lucky. So we don't have to be scared anymore. But again, our brain goes back to that really primal response. So I sat there with this thought process and I was like, that's what's happening to me. Obviously, in my logical brain here, I'm not really upset that I've ended a friendship with somebody who wanted to be that mean to me. That's not what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that primal response that community is so freaking important. So I just want to share all of this to let it kind of sit with you, to let it kind of sink in. There might be times where you are holding yourself back because you want to set a boundary or you need to walk away. Or you need to walk away from a friendship or you need to move on, but you're not letting yourself because you're feeling stuck. And it's just that nervous system being stuck in the fight or flight response. It's not you actually living that as your truth. It's not you actually not being able to walk away or not feeling like you can walk away. So sitting with that and kind of knowing that. And that's why I'm so big on nervous system regulation, is for all these millions of reasons. But like regulating our nervous system, letting it be in fight or flight when it's needed, but bringing it out of the fight or flight response when it's not needed. And right now it's not needed. We really are safe. We really are okay. We really are going to be fine. So bringing it back into that rest and digest mode, bringing it back into that safety, that feeling of safety, knowing that it's going to be fine. That's what we have to do right now. So I had to share this with y'all. I think there's like more to say, but can't share it all. I wish I could, but your girl wants to keep it a little bit, gotta keep it a little bit, a little professional here because I don't want to blast everybody. But I love you so much, and I will see you next time.